Welcome everybody to the After Dark Show. I'm Don Rogers. Well, I've got my fuck shit hat on. I've got my notebook. I've got my pen. It must be Friday night, so that means my guest is here. This is actually a guest I've been trying to have on for quite some time, but either her schedule had issues or my schedule had issues. It just seems like sometimes when you really want to have a conversation, these things don't always click. So we've been trying to do this for several months. And I actually met this guest through Stephen BG Cast, who's in the audience, when we were on a spiritual panel chat with Diana from Transcending Ascension and David the Lion and all of those wonderful folks. And I got to know Rockelle from Rock That Truth. And she is one of the most fascinating people that I've met along my journey of understanding. And I instantly wanted to talk to her about some of her understandings that she's come through on her journey. And hopefully we're going to talk about her journey tonight as well. So without further ado, Rockelle, thank you for coming to the After Dark Show.
Thank you for having me. Finally, we're doing this.
We finally got this out. And like you were mentioning beforehand, I'll give everybody a heads up. Rockelle's been having some internet issues, so if she drops off, I'll hold space and she'll be back and we'll keep going. So, Rockelle, we didn't even really get to do this. How have you been?
I'm good, really good. Just working and just staying busy and just recalibrating, right? Every day is a new day. Like, so much is happening. You know,
since we last talked, so much has happened. Like, we could spend the show talking about the things that have happened since we last talked. Like, it has been insane. Like, the world stage, the play, the movie that's going on around us has been almost impossible not to at least peek over your shoulder at. Like, the puppet show that's going on in the general public has been insane. Out of the last 3 months, what were the major things? We'll wait a few minutes till everybody gets here. What were the major things that you would pick out over the last few months since we last spoke?
Gosh, I mean, just so much. Like, it's like a whirlwind. I feel like everything just through like the movie that we're all kind of, you know, like you say, you peek around the corner to see what's going on. I mean, even that, just in general, like that is like the political arena, right? It's like Mick McMahon is like writing this script that we're like, what the hell? Fireworks, you know, like it's like insane. But also our discernment has grown so much. Like even through like the Charlie Kirk stuff, like we're all like, yeah, thumbs up. Like it's not what we're being told. And then, you know, now we have like this peace deal in the Middle East and, you know, like everything's kind of coming together. And, but at the same time, you got like all the influencers on X, like fighting against each other. Like you're Israel or no, you're anti-Israel. Like it's insane, like watching it all play out. And I'm just happy to be able to observe it and not absorb it. Right? Like all this work that we have done over the last 6 years has allowed us to be able to like, you know what? Stuff is not right. Like, I'm just going to like observe it. I'm not going to absorb it. I'm not going to get caught up in it. I'm not going to get emotionally attached to it. And how I can do that, which I know, you know, like that is.
Oh, she froze up there for a second. I will just hold space for her here. No, this is absolutely true.
Oh, no.
You're back. You're back. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so holding space. Like, can you hear me?
Yes. But you were talking about the Charlie Kirk thing, and to me that it was definitely some type of thing to distract. We know that, right? I'm not going to say it's a psyop. I'm not going to say it was staged because I don't want to get into it with anybody. We all have our own opinions about what everything is and why it's done. And one of those things often is one of the conversations that I wanted to have with you that does come up in our community quite a bit is, what do you think? I'll actually use an example from here in Canada. Like, these things are all done to distract, and I'd love to know what you think they're distracting from in your neck of the woods. What happened here recently in Canada is there was a huge uproar about an ostrich farm in British Columbia because the government, with their overreach, decided that they were going to cull this family's entire flock of ostriches, and it was like hundreds. I can't remember. And there was a huge public uproar, and of course, everything's going on, and this is all the media attention, and everybody's screaming about these birds in Western Canada because this isn't right. This is this person's livelihood. You haven't even done tests on these animals. There was a suspected case of avionic flu, or whatever the hell that's called, right? The bird flu. They suspected it, right? It wasn't even proven, but it just was all over everything. And then very quietly in Parliament, in the House of Commons, they were revising the hate speech laws and trying to put in where it would basically become like what is going on over in England, where they can arrest you for anything you say. They're trying to reframe what we're allowed to say. Even during COVID, and I don't give a shit if I get a slap for this, during COVID, Justin Trudeau changed the internet settings for all of Canada. While everybody was distracted with the truckers, he made it impossible for us to share news. Right? Yeah. And that's
they slide it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the MO in these things. Like it almost just happened again. There's my buddy Lee saying police state. Absolutely. So with all of this going on in the States, what do you think is in the background that this distraction is for?
Well, I heard that during the whole Charlie Kirk, what was that, 9, 10, 11, so 9/9 or 9/10, 9/10. So on September 10th, no, September 9th, they were passing behind the scenes to not allow any of the Epstein files to come out here in America. So the Republicans and the Democrats were doing a huge vote about that, and they slided in that they were not going to let anything out when the Charlie Kirk assassination happened, like right in that same time. So, I mean, I think you're right. I think that things in when other things happen, and these other things are a distraction that are all organized, right? But I think that they are happening and they're intercepted at the same time. Like, so, Project Looking Glass, you can see into the future, what's coming down the pipe, the benevolent beings know that. So I think they intercept. And so they know that this is going to happen, but we're going to do it our way. You get what I'm saying? Like, even with the assassination attempt on Trump during Butler, same thing. They intercepted that and they allowed it to happen, but they did it their way, right? Like, because you could tell all that was staged, like,
oh yeah.
It was all Rocky, like it was so staged.
I was waiting for Eye of a Tiger to bust out like that. Oh, and that poor woman police actor, like that was. I've seen better acting in high school plays. She was hiding behind him, and it's like you forgot your role as soon as the squib went off. You're like, no, lady, you're supposed to protect him. Anyways, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of this is like happening, behind the scenes, things are happening, right? But then where the collective sees things, like accepted to bring eyes on, to bring discernment on, to like question, because people, they allowed like one day, right? Like the Charlie Kirk, everybody was like, okay, let's just have a breather. Let's see what's going on. And then it was like the next day, everybody, all the decoders, all the influencers were like on it. Military people that were retired military are like, there's no way a bullet can do that and not come out the back. Like, he's not Superman, so many people are box, right? Like, expand your consciousness and start observing what's going on. And I think it's all divinely planned, honestly. Even though they're using trauma to reverse trauma, even you and I were like, how does that even work? But there has to be a mathematical equation, right? Like, there has to be to do this, because it's working. It is working.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, things have fundamentally changed. Like it's just bizarre, like from where we were 10 years ago with the amount of understanding that people have and all of that. Like it is all coming to fruition. And like, I think that's why people like us in this community are actually a threat. Like my friend Lee, who's actually in the chat, came on the show with me and Steven and has had some interesting activity in relation to people being around his house in black vehicles and wearing black suits. And, you know, I actually have my own black helicopter that follows me around in my septic truck job. Like, it's kind of hilarious. But it's like,
Yeah.
it's because we make them nervous. Right. And I know people are like, oh, you're not a targeted individual. They didn't ever spend that much money on. You don't understand, though.
Oh,
The people who
yeah.
make these calls aren't in the financial system. They just bury it in a $500 toilet seat in some public park somewhere because that's where the money for the SUV that went down my friend's laneway 6 times came from, was from that toilet seat that they bought. Like, it really is interesting. Like, you know, we're onto something with how much that a lot of us are being bothered. Like Steven, the one day, I think it was like 80 something calls in a matter of minutes. They like spam called his phone in the middle of a show. And
Wow.
it's,
Yeah.
you can see where we're bothering them already. And it's like, okay, so we're going the right way. We're observing the right things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so over the target. And, you know, they really do spend all their time, money, and resources to make sure we do not come outside the box. Like, they want our consciousness in a little box, but it doesn't matter because it's already out. It doesn't
Oh,
matter what they do.
absolutely. And I mentioned Steven, and one of the favorite questions him and I both kind of share and have is, each one of us on our journey had moments or a moment, like a burning bush moment, a catalyst that really kind of pushed us into the understanding that things weren't the way we thought they were. You know, I know what I learned in the public education system is absolute nonsense compared to what I understand now. And a lot of that is my own volition, right? So I was just, if you can share or walk us through the experiences that really kind of kicked off your awareness and remembering of these things that we are starting to understand.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it's weird because I didn't realize that I was part of the 2012 awakening group. And I say this because I met, and in 2012, I started researching vaccines. I had one person say to me, Raquel, you should maybe look into vaccines. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? Because I was just kind of a robot, right? I was a bio robot working, just got married, you know, started my business. And I was like, what? But when that person said that to me, I was like, okay, I'll start, you know, researching. And then I started researching and I just woke up. Like it woke me up. And then, so it was like 2012. And then woke up to vaccines, and then shortly after, a couple years later, woke up to pharma and chemo because my mother-in-law got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And then I just dove down the rabbit hole. This is before I even knew what rabbit holes were. I was like, I didn't even know what a rabbit hole was. I just started waking up. And then because I was already awake to vaccines and I'd had 2 kids, never vaccinated my kids, didn't even have a pediatrician. I was told that I was putting my friends' kids in danger. But I knew, something in me knew, like, no, you're wrong. I'm right. And I just kept going with it, even though I didn't know, but I knew. It was weird. It was like spirit was leading me. And then COVID happened. And when COVID came, I knew it was coming because I was already so far ahead with the vaccines and that they were going to roll out this virus to try to get all the adults vaccinated. Like, I was already in tune with Dar Tenpenny, Ty Bollinger, the High Wire, Dale Bigtree, you know, Andrew Wakefield, you know, part of this whole movement. So I was already and then I knew that it was coming down the pipe. And then when it happened, I was like, holy fuck, it's happening. Like, it's happening. Oh my God. 2 steps ahead. And then so COVID happened. And I was sitting in my living room and I was on Instagram. and I was following Ty Bollinger and Charlene Bollinger, right? Truth about cancer and truth about vaccines. And they had a meme story, and it was Peep the Frog from the Q movement. That little fucking frog, sent me woo, 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 into who I am now. That meme of the little frog turned me, like, it woke me up. Like, memes really do work. Meme
Well,
wars. Yeah, it was that. It
yeah.
was that. And I was, what? Reptilians? Adrenochrome? Sorry, I know I can't say all this stuff, but you know what I mean? Like, I was
Oh,
like,
I don't know how, but I get away with it.
okay, good, good. You're protected.
Yeah. Well,
But
if I go ahead.
yeah. I was just saying, it sent me into the awakening, and then I just started to wake up, and I started to find it, and it found me, really. I'm ready for it. You know how it is.
It's always interesting how it was like one thing. Like I know a lot of people do have the long drawn out awakenings, but you can always find that catalyst that pushed you, right? And like I just love hearing that of people's stories and the fact that it was a meme. And some of my
A meme.
new friends on the internet I've met because of memes. Like I actually have probably a half dozen people on my social media that I only know because of memes, right? And it's like this miniature version of an information share. It's like, here's my thoughts on this, and you're done, right? Like you can express everything in a picture in like 6 words, right? It's awesome. I love. See, I've told this story before. When I was a small child, I had a hard time reading, and it wasn't that I didn't understand what to do. My brain, like I actually remember this, my brain was still set on a cycle from past life. And in the existence that I was before this, you didn't read, you just observed the information and understood it, right? So when I first went to school, I was looking at these pages and I'm like, why is this not going in? Why is this not going in? Because you got to think, even when you're little, all you've really done is looked at picture books, and then you go to school and it's all these words. And I'm like, I remember being like 5 years old trying to rationalize this. Like, why isn't this working? Why isn't, and it was wrong. And then I had to like slow down, and it's like, oh, I have to read these words. So even that was a strange experience.
Oh my God, I was the same way. We had the same story. Like I had to get put in resource, and we know now that resource is an opportunity to get to us. Like the kids who do not read are the ones who are the most gifted, because we're not supposed to read. Words, symbols, numbers, all of that take away your essence, basically. Like when we started like producing symbols and words, and it took away our gifts, because we're telepathic, we're telekinesis, we can bilocate, we can do all these amazing things. But when we stopped doing that and started creating words and look what symbols have done. Symbols have fucked up humanity. A flag, just a flag, can ruin a nation, right? Like we know what the power behind a flag can do, and good or bad, right? But once we started putting our power outside of ourselves into a flag or a word or a number or a symbol, it started taking us away from ourselves. Like we almost like flipped inside out. And the kids like you and I who couldn't read well, because we were already like tapped into our gifts. We were already like part of that group, the star seeds that came in, and then they targeted us, and then they pull us out of class, they put us in resource, right? Embarrass you in front of the whole class. You got to come read. You got reading lessons. You got to go do Raquel, and then you don't remember anything. It's gone. There's no memory whatsoever what happened with you and that one other person in that room for an hour. Gone. Just like, what happened for 2 years? What were they doing to us? And there's a lot of research now, and a lot of people come forward that they were, putting us in the 20 and backs or 40 and back programs. They were using us. They were, messing around with us, basically. And then all these schools have tunnels underneath them. All of them. Almost every school has a tunnel and a graveyard. nearby. So it's
Yeah.
all connected. It's all part of it. I mean, it's deep, and it's dark and it's heavy, but obviously we're still here, right?
And I actually want to go a couple of places with that because you just reminded me of a couple of things. Like, yeah, I had the learning group as well, and same thing. Like, you go into a room and you're like in this. It was almost like a friggin' a small interrogation room in the school I
Yeah.
was in. You were just in there for an hour, and they just sometimes you had headphones on, sometimes. Anyways, here's where it gets wild. In like I was that perpetual Bart Simpson D student, right? I was underachiever and proud of it. And
Same.
then in grade 4, I almost won the science fair because they're like it was all about recycling. And I've told this story on the show, and I'll try to get through it real quick. Basically, they're like, do something for the environment, do something to help. And I'm like, okay, well, everybody's recycling the pop cans. What if they were smaller? Right? My dad was a sheet metal worker. And I'm like, Dad,
Mhm.
I wanted to make something. And I drew it up, and it was this handle and this thing, and it pressed down the pop cans, and you sat it on your counter. You've probably seen them. Star Fritz makes them now,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I actually came up with that idea in grade 4, right?
Oh,
I had
wow.
never seen this before, and I almost won the science fair. Turns out that it was actually first thought of in the 50s. That's when the original patent was, but I had never seen it. So screw you. I thought of it. Right. But so I ended up almost winning the science fair. Skip ahead to the next year. My sister is now a public school teacher and was constantly a straight A student. I got invited to the provincial thinking symposium and she didn't.
Wow.
The Provincial Thinking Symposium took place at a private church camp 8 minutes from the military tank range, Meaford Bay, like Army base.
Mhm. Mm.
So
Mhm.
when you were talking about time that disappears, I remember the bus ride there. I'm pretty sure I have one memory, or it's a screen memory. Then they took us into an auditorium where there was lights and music, and then I went home
Yeah.
on the bus
Yeah. You don't
for
remember
eight
anything.
hours. For
Yeah.
8 hours.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Missing time, right? Like what was happening during that experience? Like what was going on?
Oh yeah, and the fact that it's by a military base just is like, yeah, okay.
It's all connected, and especially back then, it was super dark. Like we came into a very dark realm. Like the planet is beautiful, right? But she was kind of like pinched off from the universe because of the technocratic octopus that wraps around this planet, which disconnects us from our spirit. And so we've kind of been pinched off, almost like in a black hole. Like we've been in a little bit of a black hole. And
Yeah.
when we came in, I mean, we were really pinched off. Like, I mean, it's kind of like the fact that we made it, right? Just proves how strong and resilient and magical we really are. And we have to like actually have grace for ourselves because almost every person I talk to now has had so much trauma happen to them. And mainly their parents just were not there. Like this just was like MIA. Like you raised yourself basically. And we all kind of have the same story. And a lot of people were messed with sexually, abused, um, physically, mentally, whatever, and grew up in that yuckiness, right? Like that black goo. But now it's like, you have a child, I have a child. It's like we're coming out of that where we're not in the bottom of a black hole anymore. Like we're starting to like because every time, and this is what we need to like really step into. Every time you or me or Diana or Steven or the lion, like every time we have a breakthrough, that affects the whole entire universe. Like it really is pulling us up out of this hole that we're in. And I know that's like way out there, but we need to start embodying that because that's like really the truth. Like we're in fact we that's why all eyes are on us right now. You know what I mean? Like everybody's watching us. Like, what's gonna happen with Earth? And we're doing it. We're doing it because I know you feel the energies. Like the energies have been like I mean, it's been really good lately. It's really
Yeah.
bad sometimes, and it's really good sometimes because we're so sensitive now. But we're doing it.
I have to steal from Steven here, and then I'm going to circle back. And I think you just hit on that perfectly. Is he said this, and I agree with it. I am of the opinion that this is most likely and quite possibly an intergalactic reality TV show. Like we have to be because if nobody else is getting to see some of the funny shit I do, even I feel
Yeah.
so like humanity has missed how freaking funny I am, and Lee and Steven and you, and like all of the entertaining shit that we do just in our day to day passing by lives. It is
Yeah.
it is an affront to reality that that goes
Mm.
unobserved. Like we're the observers, but I truly hope somebody is
I
observing
see
this.
it.
Freaking entertaining. Like we are fucking
Yeah.
hilarious. I'm just gonna flat out say it. Like
No,
I hope
I agree. I agree, and I think they are. Like, I think we're being watched like all the time, and that's like secrets, right? Secrets are going away because secrets are what hurt us, right? Secrets are what have kind of like pinched off our planet. Like all these dark people that have had secrets, and like it closes you in, right? Guilt, shame, all that like pinches you off. But now it's like we're becoming more transparent. We're like becoming more see-through. We're like, okay, well, this is who I am. I love talking to the birds. I love talking to the flowers. Like this little flower that my hibiscus plant that's right here by the front door loves me and just rebloomed because I go by and I touch her and I'm like, I just love you so much. And she's like, I love you too. I'm gonna bloom again. And she just busted out blooming today. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. But she loves me and they see that. We this is one thing that's so cool about what we are. You know how we feel alone sometimes, like, oh my God, I'm so alone. Like there's nobody that, you know, you have a wife, thank God. She's on the path like you are, That's
yeah.
amazing. But there's some of us that don't have that and we do feel alone, but we're never alone. The birds are always watching us. The squirrels are always right here observing us. The butterflies, the little lizard, right, that looks at you, like side eye you, like, I see you right there, Raquel. You're watering. Thank you. This grasshoppers, we're never alone. The trees are like, just acknowledge me. We're never alone. We've been lied to. You're never alone.
I that really resonates, and I do believe that that is true. Like I think we all share an energy of the universe, and without going through my entire NDE again, when I was dying, I was becoming a part of the all. Like I had died,
Yeah.
I my
Yeah.
physical form, and what I was experiencing was becoming reacquainting myself with the energy of the all. I know I don't say this often on my show. I don't think I've ever said I know something. In fact, I've made a point of saying I don't know shit. But I know what you just said is right because when
Hmm.
I died, I was becoming a
Feel it.
part of the energy of the all. Like we are connected to everything, right?
The mycelium. We are the mycelium network, right? That is
Mhm.
that's our true connection to Gaia. And I think this is going to be the pole flip, the poles flip inside of us, right? So, like you were saying, when you had that near death experience and you were connecting to the all, you were connecting to the mycelium, the microorganisms, the ether, everything that connects us to Gaia, this beautiful planet. And I think what's happening as we recalibrate and come back on, we're flipping inside out, right? Where we're going, because we've been inside out, we're going back inside. And then we connect back to all that. And this is one thing, and I want to know if you resonate with this, because I'm so far out. Like my consciousness is like phew, way over there, past all the technocratic political arena, everything that's happening. I'm like, okay, well, how do we clean up the mess, right? All the buildings, all the roads, because roads were only created to move food around, right? Food that's grown by other people for money, which poisons us, right? It wrecks our guts because we're supposed to grow our own food and we don't need all this food. So how do we get rid of the 5G towers? How do we get rid of the roads? How do we get rid of, all the crap that's everywhere, all these buildings and parking lots and schools and, whatever. Well, what came to me was the mycelium network. As we recalibrate, the microorganisms will just go and take it away, like just eat it away. Like in that movie, I think it's the one with Keanu Reeves and like the day the Earth stood still, where the big old robot shows up and it starts eating away everything. Remember
Yeah,
that movie?
yeah.
That's our connection. That is what cleans up this mess as we recalibrate. It'll start taking away. It's like the ghost in the machine. Like who's doing it? It's the microorganisms all around us that are connected to us.
That actually really resonates as well, because like part of my understanding that I've come into is that like even us, we're just those microorganisms.
Yes.
We're a compilation of biomolecular molecules that are held together by frequency, intent, and vibration, right? So like even we will eventually disintegrate in that process that you're talking about. Everything in this reality is of a biomolecular nature and can be through some type of residence, age, or experience. Like, yeah, absolutely. Everything that you said, it is going to dissolve, right? Because everything in this reality is not even a solid. It will eventually break down and dissolve. I think that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and because I always was like trying to wrap my head around, like, how do we clean this up? Like you think about like China, right? Or you think about like just any of these countries where it's all like buildings and but really our true connection is to the land, right? Like to the plants, the biome, the mushrooms, the bees, the little bugs that crawl over you. Like that is all our connection. And how do we get rid of all this mess living in dead wood, trees that are cut down and killed, which we don't even need to do. All the buildings, like all the, concrete, like how do we clean it up? And I couldn't figure it out. And then I was like, oh my God, it's the mycelium network. Like it's all connected and it will just wipe it all out. Just like when a nuke is going off, there's children on the planet right now that can just, with their thoughts, think about that nuke and it'll just go dissolve because of the ether that's connected to their thoughts will just go and dissolve it away. And that, like, when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, it locked in me. I was like, oh my God, it's all connected. It's all connected. We don't need all this. This is everything outside of us. When we really are, the more connected we are to the planet, the more galactic we are. Right? Like the little weed that grows beside your tomato plant, that little weed, that little Florida Bethany weed is giving your tomato plant cosmic information because they're all connected, right? And we've been trained, kill the weeds, get rid of the weeds. But they all work together. It all works together. Like it's like fascinating.
Oh, and the movie Avatar really blew this out of the water for me when they talk about the mycelium network in, like, I can't remember the line that she says, but like, and then you start looking into the networks of mushrooms and the roots of plants, and it is absolutely true that everything in this reality is connected through, and it is connected in some sort. And I know you're big on this, that we're not supposed to live in boxes. And I think that and what we were talking about with language and all of this has been done to disconnect us, right? It keeps us further away from where we're supposed to be. Because like even what you were saying about the symbols and words, that's all part of the construct. And then they turn those words into spells. We've done shows on this together about spelling, and how if you don't know what you're saying, it can be detrimental because they use your implied intent, right? It's so fucked up, pardon my language, but like it really is when we're supposed to be one way, but we are so far from it. That's why we all feel like this. That's why we're all exhausted. That's why we all secretly in some way don't fucking like our lives, because we know it's not right. right? We know we're not supposed to live in this box. We know we're not supposed to drive that car. We know we're not supposed to be on that road. We know we're not supposed to be working for that guy. We know we're not supposed to eat from that store. We all know this, and even if we don't know this, we know this, right? And that's the
Feel it.
problem is nobody listens to this. Everybody listens to this and this.
Yeah. No, no, no. You're so right. And there's a lot of people going viral right now that are just like, I can't believe that I have to work 9 to 5 and every single day and America is nothing but a plantation. I'm a slave on this plantation. I mean, people are they're feeling it. They really are, and they're using their voice, and that's really good. And they're getting it out because you have to. Like you need to get it out because you're right. Like we really are slaves to the dollar. Like if you want to, doesn't matter who you are and how amazing your life is, we're all slaves. Okay. We really are slaves. And it's okay. We're not victims. We can, become victors and rise above it. But you have to acknowledge it. You got to become aware of it to start changing it. And you got to admit it. And that's what these last 6 years have been for a lot of us. Like, okay, yeah, I'm really in a system that is not, correct. I want to seek and get out of it. But how do you get out of it? You have to seek. You have to allow yourself to want to know to start to make changes, right? And then you got to purify yourself. And how do you purify yourself? You got to like heal the trauma. You got to admit your secrets, even if you're like just saying them out loud to the birds and the bees, it doesn't matter. But get them off your shoulders so you can get rid of the programs, so you can start healing and recalibrating and becoming pure. Because how is a bird going to trust you if you're not pure? It's not. It knows. Like a bird, a cat, they know what you are. They know, they can see it. A tree, they see your aura. They see what's going on, like what attachments you have. So why would God or the universe trust you? Right? You got to purify yourself. You got to start admitting things. You got to let it out. You got to like clear it. You got to heal it. You got to say, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then you got to walk it. Can't talk it. You got to walk it. You got to like follow through. And a lot of us have taken these last 6 years to actually do that. And now here we are, right? We're like, okay, like things are starting to get better. Like it's getting better because it's getting better inside of me, right? Inside of Rockelle. So then it's getting mirrored back out inside of Dawn. It's getting
Yeah.
mirrored back, right? And it's little things. They really are big things if you think about it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And Lee, my buddy, just said COVID was designed to destroy the old program. And I don't know if it was designed to, but it absolutely did. Like Kyla calls it Operation Backfire. Like there is, like you said about the benevolence kind of subverting some of the things, like we can see it coming and then it just blows up in their face. Or sometimes it even starts to come to fruition and screws with us a little bit, but it ends up blowing up in their face. Like, and it's a death rattle. It's a death roll. Like they know they're fucked, right?
Yeah.
Like and I just wanted to say on the purifying thing as well, like things that have changed me and furthered my connection was changing the way I eat, the things I'm thinking and observing, and especially my content, right? I watch things now because I even know like you can screw yourself up somatically just by the things you watch, right? Because if subby doesn't know that this isn't real, you're going to feel that way. You're going to project that onto yourself. You're going to accept that as part of your reality, even though it was just on television. You really are that much of a high-tech, wonderful vessel that you can just, oh my God, you are emotionally connected to everything that's happening around you. We are connected to everything, and that includes the content you watch, right? If you're not watching your content from a place of neutrality, like this isn't really happening to me, and being aware that it isn't happening to you and not getting the emotional pangs and spikes that you do in movies, like the jump scares and the crying scenes, your somatic responses believe that this shit is happening to you, and you can screw up yourself. Even though you're trying to be pure, you can screw yourself up just by what you're watching and listening to.
Yeah. The eyes are the seat of the soul, right? Yeah. And like going back to like COVID, like COVID was like, it kind of came in to like shake up consciousness. Like consciousness was so stagnant, right? Like, okay, so like I'm not talking about like you and I'm talking about like the collective, right? The bio robots, the NPCs, the background characters that are in our realm. Like they're real, but
Mhm.
they stagnant. It was just like go to work, go to work, drink wine, gossip with my girlfriends, talk shit, like it was like such a, and I know for men it's different, but I'm talking about like women, like
Yeah.
same old, compete against each other. Like you're not even trying to impress the men, you're trying to impress women. It's like so fucked up. Like, what are we doing here? Go on vacation, like to Cancun and just, bullshit to drink. It's bullshit. So it's like it came in to break up consciousness because consciousness was so stagnant. And we were like, and some of us were like, I can't keep up with all these people. I can't drink like these people. I can't like wake up in the morning and drink. Like I just am not like them. And then I felt like I was the weirdo. Like, why can all my girlfriends do that, but I can't? And now I know it's because I was more real. Like I was more in tune with my spirit. Like I knew what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do, but they were just like bio robots, right? This is what you do, drink box wine. And COVID came in and just like consciousness was like, what's happening? And even them, they got it too. But did
Yeah.
they go and start seeking? No. But guess what? They had the opportunity and they still do. Every time one of these events happens, and it's going to keep happening, they all have the opportunity. It's playing out for them to allow themselves just to question, just to seek, just to start thinking outside the box, right? And going and allowing, right? Okay, I'm gonna start like, just kind of like going down this. I want to hear a little bit more about this. But you have to like humble yourself, right? How do we become authentic? We have to like humble ourselves and we have to humiliate ourselves. We've all been humiliated. I have been for the last
Oh yeah.
6 freaking years. Goodness gracious, God Almighty.
And to your point, one of the see they I think what they thought was going to happen, and I can't think like they, but I'm just spitballing here. Is I think they thought they had us so ingrained in the digital realm and so ingrained in technology and so ingrained in computers that they could do what they did to us for a couple of years and it would have just got more and more technocratic, but it backfired because people pulled away from the tech and actually
Yeah.
stopped and thought, right? And
Mhm.
that's where it got dangerous because you gave people time to think, right?
Yeah.
You pushed us out of the program by trying to kill us. And
Yeah.
this one might get me a strike. I don't really give a fuck. I'm going to say it because they tried so hard to kill us that it made everybody think, not just the people on the
Mhm.
edge, not just the people
Mhm.
scratching their head or rubbing their eyes, or, even myself. I saw a UFO when I was a kid, and I have like 5 other witnesses, and I've always kind of been, even the ones that always thought maybe something. No, it happened to a lot of people. Like, wait a minute, something isn't right here. And that hasn't gone away, right? They were too confident in the fact that they had given us the proverbial nipple of the internet to suckle at while we sat at home for 2 years while they completely changed our lives. And it didn't
Yeah.
work.
No, it didn't. And guess what? You know why it didn't work? Because you're here and I'm here and our friends who are part of the collective consciousness panel. Like, it's because we're here. Like, we have to kind of give ourselves more credit because, credit is due where credit's due. And, grace is due where grace is due. Like, we have to give ourselves grace and for, going through what all we had to go through our whole life to get to where we are now. And, you know, it's like really heavy. Like I mean, being a human during this time is not easy. And the fact that we're still here, and like on this show right now talking about this, we really do have to give ourselves like a little pat on the back because I mean, like most people would not even, try to think outside the box like we have. But we allowed ourselves, like we allowed spirit, God to lead us, like step into the unknown, right? Like you said, I don't know anything, so I'm open to everything.
Yeah.
Everything. That's all you gotta do. Just open yourself up. And you'll weed it out. You'll weed out the shit, the bullshit, and you'll weed out the truth, and you'll just keep going. And I think that's what life is about, seeking. Every life experience is about seeking and where you what you can gain during that life experience. If I'm a Lyran, or if I'm a Andronoman, or a human, or whatever. Um, but the program here wanted us to not even know that that was a thing. They wanted us to be like in the box, like a slave, chained, don't question, robot. I mean, we still have a lot of bio robots around us, but they're all getting it too. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's coming from every single angle now. If it's not coming from the sun, it's not coming from the planet. If it's not coming from like the arena around us, like they're getting it all across the board. And they're stepping in to their dark night of the soul, right? Because I like to say, like, these last 6 years have kind of been a dark night of the soul.
Oh,
Like a constant dark night of the soul.
absolutely. Like it's what pushed me past, just I saw a UFO to doing all of this. Like I joke about this 2 years ago. I couldn't stand podcasts. I thought they were ridiculous and they were all for like yuppie, hippie, new age assholes. And here I am. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you can thank Kyla for that one because she made me watch it.
Aw.
And I
Okay.
do want to circle back to what you were saying about, hearing people say that this is a slave system. And if you ever need unadulterated proof of that, you can Google this. It's right there. We have less free time, holidays, and basic freedoms than medieval peasants.
Mm.
When you put that into context, when you think about how horrible you would think a medieval peasant's life would be, or how horrible most people would,
Yeah.
to me, I would love it. I would absolutely go back to being a medieval peasant in no time, as long as the king would fuck off, right? But like, we have less free time, less holidays to be with our family than medieval peasants. That is a frightening example of how they've encased us in this construct that they've created.
Yeah. No, it goes far back to the Egyptian times, to the high priests. And I actually posted about this recently, how there was a high priest that during the Egyptian times, and they were enslaving all the people, and all the people were, not happy. They're like moving things around, building the pyramids, whatnot. And the high priest could tell that one slave was kind of pondering, because he could tell by the way he was looking around, and just, these high priests, they know what's up, right? So he just kind of disguised himself and became a slave, and was working beside him and sleeping beside him in the little, beds or whatever. And he's like, man, we're going to be a slave forever. And then the young fellow goes, oh no, I have a plan. And the high priest is like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna overrun the Roman Empire or whatever during the time. He's like, we're gonna take them out, because they're gonna be tired. They're gonna be coming back from a battle. We're gonna take them out. There's one guard per 10 people, so we're gonna just, we're all organized, we're ready. So the high priest was like, oh, okay, and asked him some more questions, and figured out his plan. So the high priest was like, oh, okay. So he goes back up to his little tower above the pyramid, and he's like, what am I going to do? So he starts pondering, and he goes, oh, I'm just going to start paying them. So the next day he makes a big announcement with all the guards over the slaves. From now on, I'm going to pay you guys 2 coins per block. And then all the people just started working harder. And then they started organizing amongst themselves. Okay, so you'll help us, and we'll pay you if we get hurt, and you become a doctor, and then we'll move, and we'll like start buying our houses. And then they started working harder, and then they moved 2 blocks where they used to only move 1 block. They would start moving 4 blocks and working together and working harder and harder and harder. for coins. And here we are today, right? Here we are today. So we have to kind of unwind these spells. Like our planet has been gifted to us. It has everything. It has abundance of everything. It can grow everything. Even if there's land where stuff doesn't grow, we just have to re-love the motherland and it'll start growing. All the seeds that have been GMO'd can self-correct. All of them. It all, if you and I think it, it'll happen. Everything is for man. Everything on this planet. So we have to unwind that spell. We got to talk about it. We got to like, don't go into the XRP, Bitcoin, quantum financial system. Don't even worry about any of that stuff. Like we are beyond that. We are free beings on a planet that was created for us, where every single thing grows for us. All the mycelium network is for us. All the animals are for us. Bears are for us. Wolves, they're our best friends. They love us. Like dolphins will help you birth your babies, and that's starting to happen now. People are like going down to Florida and having dolphins help them birth their babies. Like everything is connected to us. So the more we talk about that, the more aware. It's really awareness. The only way we get out of this is awareness. Like people have to become aware of it. They need to hear it, and then they got to hear it again, and they got to hear it again, and then they'll start embodying it, basically.
That's funny because Karen, as we all do from the panels that we've done, those who do the work are learning to walk out of the prison because the door wasn't locked. Slavery is a choice, as is ignorance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very well said, Karen. I totally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it just takes a group of us, right? It just takes us to be like, okay, no more. We're not paying property taxes anymore. And then we'll just kind of get rid of it one by one by one by one, and it's happening. It's already happening. It's already starting. Nothing can stop it.
Oh, like the amount of people that are figuring out, and it's been for the last 5-6 years, like how to self-sustain, how to become self-employed, how to grow your own food. Like COVID was Project Backfire. Like they wanted V for Vendetta, and they made a society of self-sustaining individuals instead. And I don't know if anybody else, I know I've said it before on the show, but I don't know if you're familiar with the movie V for Vendetta, and if you're not, you should watch it because that's what happened. And like, even as far here in Canada as the government turning the military on the public at the Parliament building, like that literally happened here. Right? Like the whole fucking movie played out here.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is predictive programming, but it's predictive programming, like you said, where it's like, okay, let them get that far. That's enough of that shit. We're going to turn it into this. Right? Because like that was all part of that was like the COVID and the convoys and all of this. Right? And the trucker convoys was because they were taking away the basic human rights of the people bringing the food to the people who didn't know how to do it themselves. Right? Like a very close friend of mine is a truck driver, and like we had to sneak him, and I don't fucking care. We snuck him to my house to make him food so he could go drive to deliver food.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Like
wow. Yeah.
It was bad. Like they were actually talking military checkpoints. Kyla had her paperwork because her boss at the time was ex-military, and he had the inside track. Like it was coming to military checkpoints. But something subverted it, right? But it's just like, it's so crazy that they show us in movies, but we can see what's coming.
It's all predictive programming. Yeah.
It's a very interesting reality to live in, because even when you figure out that you can control it, you can also just watch things, and either you can figure out how it works or you can figure out what they're going to do, right? Like we did a Rick and Morty decode show, and like some of the metaphysical principles hidden in that show are insane. I'm going to do one with Frank. I'm going to do one with Frank Castle about the Deadpool series, because Marvel movies are another one where they bury some of the most, this is factual metaphysical practices that work, and they're hiding them in Marvel movies and Rick and Morty, and it's like, regular people don't see it until you go, that's real.
Yeah. Well, they just released Tron 2. Is it Tron 2? We went and took the kids last weekend, the new Tron.
Yeah.
And okay, so it was very interesting, but that movie, you know how there's always like one thing, there's like a nugget in there of truth that they want to get out, but they just hide it in there, the Easter egg. And what it was, because the game is trying to get into our world now, so the AI wants to become sentient and be in the real world. And they had to figure out how to do that. And the code was DNA. DNA is what locks us into this reality. So and this is my interpretation through everything that I have gone through and what I know, our DNA, we have to transmute our DNA to ascend out of this reality, to get into the void where the flower of life, where all the triangles meet up, but there's a void in between, the quantum field in between. You have to transmute your DNA to get into that void where anything is possible, heaven on earth. And that's where we're moving towards. So it's not really turning on my DNA or, all that they've been trying to convince us, right? Like there's a whole movement, like I need to turn on more of my DNA because it's been turned off. No. We need to transmute. We are more than the DNA. The DNA is what's got us locked in to this reality. DNA. So in the movie, the AI, the game, Tron, had to get the DNA code to become sentient in the game, in this real reality. And it was that one little hidden nugget, and I picked up on it. And I was like, oh.
That is awesome, and you just triggered my nerd because I know you're not on Facebook, but I actually wrote a paper on this subject. Karen Holton from Forbidden Knowledge asked me the one time if I thought that this was a hologram or a matrix reality. I meditated on it and ended up going to sleep, woke up and had a rudimentary understanding of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and knew where to find all the information. And what you're saying completely resonates because during that little deep dive that I did, I found out that the governments around the world since the 1940s have actually been attempting to use DNA as digital storage, right?
Ooh.
Now, they've actually gotten it down to a science. And when they've last calculated, you can store in the average human being 18.5 billion years worth of digital information in a human body, right? Now,
Yeah.
where that gets interesting is because 18.5 billion years is also the known age of the universe, right? So exactly what you're saying, we have the
Wow.
information of everything in our DNA because we're the storage system. We have all of the information to project the reality, to create the rest of history in each and every one of us. That's why we're all genetically very, very similar, because it's just a storage system. We have the information of reality inside of us.
Our epigenetics. Yes.
Yeah, we're projecting reality. That's why we're contained by the DNA, because we're a self-projecting system, right? We receive the information from the source creator, and this reality is an infinitesimal plane of sentient molecules, right? It's a vast plane, and source observes that plane. And as we know from the double slit experiment, once molecules are observed, they take a form, right? This is the form that the biomolecular construct of this reality is.
Yep.
Source is observing it. We're projecting it because we're like walking around projectors. We just create them as we go.
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry, you triggered my nerd there.
No, I agree, and I love all that because I have realized recently that we're like in a holographic overlay on top of the real Earth, or plane, reality, I guess, dimension. So if we're in a reality that's all materialistic, right, and all material symbols, numbers, just the stuff that you can touch, textiles, we're in the reality where 1 + 1 = 2, right? Like you have one book, and then you have another book, and you put that together, and there's two books, right? But in the real reality, in the God reality, 1 + 1 = 3. It's the co-creation reality. So you have one man, one woman, and then they create a child. 3, right? 1 + 1 = 3. One tree pollinates with another tree, creates another tree. One bee has another bee, creates another bee. One dog creates another dog, has another dog. You know what I mean? It's co-creation. Everything's real. But we're in a fake synthetic reality where it's all textiles, it's all fake. Like 1 cup plus another cup equals 2, you know? But really, it's 1 + 1 = 3 in the real living co-creation dimension. And that's where we're going back to. Not everybody will, because some people want to stay that reality. They want to keep going with everything outside themselves, and they turn into the grace, and that's fine. That is spirit. That is a particle of God that wants to keep falling and falling and falling to find itself again. And you and I, we can't judge that. That's fine. You and I probably have done that. We've probably already been in gray and
Yeah.
fell 1,000 times and came back up, right? Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. You're all returned to source. Some people will not want to do that this go around. They're scared. They're atheists. They don't want to accept the unknown is everything, right? And they'll keep going that way, and that's fine. But some of us will embrace that moment, that aha moment, that we're all going, that singularity event that's coming. And you close your eyes and you embody it, and you wake up and you're on your kin's domain where it's the earth and the plants and the bees and the trees and everything that's for you, for man, right? The living dimension. And then we kind of just start over again. And some will go home. Some people who are from other star systems and other universes, right? You might return back to that. But I think we all have a choice. But it's awareness. Like you have to become aware. And even the grays that are here amongst us right now, the bio robots who are taking that path, they interact with you and me and our friends, and they get a chance to, oh, I want to, seek that instead of the technocratic technology outside my self path, basically. That's the way I see it in a nutshell. I don't know.
I
I mean, I could be wrong.
That makes a lot of sense to me, quite honestly. And a regular of mine, Kentucky or Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, said nature has healed us, and I agree with that too. Like it is very healing to be out in nature, and I think it, like you were saying, it will eventually heal itself too.
Mm-hmm.
We've touched on it, we've circled around it, and it's actually part of the title of the show. Can you explain to the listeners and everybody in the audience what a biorobot is? Because we've used the term and we've thrown it around just from the 101 standpoint. What is it? What is that stage of existence for the people that are there?
So the way I understand it, a lot of people have talked about NPCs, like we got Dolores Cannon and Guy Needler and Bob Monroe and the background characters, the NPCs, just the fillers. But the best definition that I have learned, and I learned this through the books, the Anasaja and the Ringing Cedar books, is what we kind of been turned into is biorobots. And this has happened for a very long time. It didn't happen overnight. And what it is, and I mean, it's really deep, Dawn. Like, it's so deep that it's actually kind of hard to talk about. But what I've realized is because we've been targeted so hard through our superpower, and our superpower really is our sexuality. Like, we can co-create babies, right? God created us, we create babies. Like, it is a creation. Like, we're creating more planets. Like, we're growing the universe by producing babies. But because everything has been over sexualized and people have become so materialistic, there's so many people on the planet now. So everybody's trying to meet somebody, and you don't really meet your person. So it goes really deep into telogamy, and people are sleeping with people and then they're not with that person, and then they meet 10 partners down the road, they meet another person, and then they decide to have a baby with that person. But all the DNA from all these partners are in the women and men. But when a woman has a baby, all that DNA from all those partners are in you. So then now you're creating a baby with multiple DNAs. And I know this is really hard because it's deep and people don't want to hear this because we're all guilty of it. Okay. We have been so fucked with and over sexualized. Okay. Everything's sex, 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 porn, 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 boobs, ass, it's everywhere. Yoga pants, breasts hanging out. Like we've been targeted big time through our sexuality. And when you produce a baby after being with multiple people, that baby comes in and it's almost like a lot of times the baby will look like the first partner you've ever been with. And there's lots of women on the planet that will say that. My mom even said that about me. Like she was with a man and then had my dad and was like, you came out looking like whatever his name was. I can't remember. But that's really true. And it's been proven through science. Okay. Like telogamy was discovered when a scientist had a horse and a zebra and they tried to mate them, but it didn't mate. Right. And then the horse with another horse had a baby the next go around and the baby came out looking like a zebra. So that DNA is stored in you. So the high priestess or the Pharisees or whoever you want to call these motherfuckers, they figured that out a long time ago. So they have used that against humanity. So babies are being born that are not purely man, they're mankind, right? I mean, I'm an example of that. My kids are an example of that. And so it's not the divine spark because in the true reality that we all are part of, there's not this many people. There's not fake people everywhere. You go to a bar, you meet a woman or a man, they're pretending to be somebody else. And then you start dating them, you get married, and then you realize, oh my God, this person's not who they say they are. They're actually fake. Like She doesn't look like that. Like she had all that makeup on to look like that, or he lied about that. It's all lies. It's fake. Nobody's authentic anymore. So the babies are coming in. They're not purely authentic, and then you throw them into the system, you throw them to the wolves, and we've created bio robots that have been just programmed for this synthetic system that we live in. And that's really hard, but it can be reversed. Awareness is how you reverse it. God has created everything to be healed, okay? That's how amazing the creator is. And as soon as you become aware of it, you can heal it. I mean, even if you wake up to all this and you've been with 10 people, but you find your person, right? And you're like, holy fuck, I haven't had a baby yet. I want to have a baby. There are things you can do. And it's simple. It's like laying outside on the grass under the stars and the moon and with your partner before you have a baby and letting it all go to the celestials. It'll take it all away. I mean, it's not doom and gloom. I mean, there are outs, like there are ways to heal all this, but we kind of turned into mankind. And now we got to get back to man, true man and woman. And it's just awareness. It's talking about this stuff and it's hard truths because we're all guilty of it. We all grew up in a system that was over sexualized. Most people have been, with multiple partners before they meet their partner that they settle down with. And all that DNA is in you and it does transfer to the kids. So, we got to start purifying ourselves. That's the whole purity, like purifying, not wanting to share yourself with just whoever. Because once you start to wake up, you know that you don't want to just do that. You're like, I would never, ever just randomly hook up with somebody. Who the hell knows what attachments they have on them? And it's all real. It's all real. Astral parasites, attachments, demons, angelics. It's all real, baby. It's all real. So bio robots, right, amongst us everywhere, but they're awakening and they're healing, and we're all going to do this together because one by one, talking about this stuff, someone hears it and then they start to purify themselves and then the next person, and nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop what's coming, basically.
Yeah. Everything you said is right on point. I'm loving this conversation.
It's hard. Again, it's like a hard topic because no one wants to hear that.
No, and you got to tell it, and you're knocking it out of the park. I just want to read Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot said, wild turkeys domesticated turn white. Why farmed turkeys are white? Why are we white?
Oh, well, that I'm sure that has something to do. If you go way back to like the Vedic culture, they were like dark brown, not black, but like not white like this. They were
No.
like more like Asian, darker, Indian kind of looking, but not black. So I think our melanin, as we kind of like bio robot out, all this kind of changed, right? And I think we are more brown. Like we're a little bit more not black, but not white. I think there's a sweet spot in between. The melanin, our melanin got so fucked with. That's why people burn, besides the poisons and the sunscreen and all that. But there is a reaction, you got to think about the genes, right? The genes have been, if you got multiple DNA in you, you're mankind, everything gets fucked with. So
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, and I think we can self-correct it.
absolutely. Um, I also was thinking too, like the hypersexualization, and another thing we talked about on the other show was the division of the sexes, and like all of this is done to steer us away. Like, oh, I don't need one partner, and I think we were even talking about how it's been just normalized on television, even that daddy has a side piece and mommy's in love with the gym instructor or whoever, right?
Pool
But it's
boy.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it they've divided us against each other too with the sexualization, because it's like, I'll go to the next one, I'll go to the next one, I'll go to the next
Yeah.
one. No one even cares, right?
Yeah.
There's no real commitment to relationship anymore. And I know you're not supposed to have attachment to other people and stuff, but like there's something that's been lost in a lot of people's relationships. And I'm happy that I'm in the one I'm in, but I do spend a lot of my life observing other people and like watching people that go through these relationships. And it's like, oh, look, you're on the fifth love of your life this year. Fuck, you're doing good. Like it, especially on social media, you see it all the time. Like, oh yeah, this is my fifth soulmate this year. I'm sure this one's going to work out. No, it's fucking not.
No, and it's because of the system, what's happened with producing so many babies, like because almost like we're like rabbits, right? Like, and they did this on purpose, by the way. So we produced a lot of people, there's a lot of people, but back in the day, you actually really did meet your soulmate. You really met that person. And when it happened, you felt it in the cosmos and here on Earth. And that doesn't happen anymore. Like people don't recognize people because most people are fake. And okay, most women when they go out, they're putting on all that makeup, they're getting dressed up, like that is all fake. It's not even who they are because when they're at home, they're in like, normal clothes, no makeup, hair's up, and it's no one's authentic anymore. So people are getting married, but it's all a fake persona, right? And then you realize like, oh, I really don't like this person. It was all that what do they call it? New relationship energy has like a word, I can't remember, but
The
they're all
honeymoon
into
phase.
that. Yeah, yeah. And they get caught up in that energy and then that energy fades because it's not real. It's like that, new relationship energy. And then they're like, oh, my soul and your soul are not, there's a soul recognition. And when it happens, like obviously, with your wife, like that is a real thing. But most people are not finding that because they're only finding people at bars, restaurants, college, parties, party, like it's not like authentic. Like people are not being authentic. And most people when they're authentic, they don't want to go out drinking. They're like,
Yeah.
I don't even want to do that. I just kind of want to like bum it and hang out and talk about spirituality. So it's kind of gotten lost in the sauce, unfortunately. But I think the fact that we're talking about it is going to start unlocking it for other people. And then those bio robots, the people that are just so filled in, people will be able to like, as they awaken, they'll find the real people. Because you and I, we know who's real now, right? Like,
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
can't talk to that person. Like, okay, I'll just go this way.
Yeah. And
Awareness.
I want to touch on that before we get away from it is like I know I talk about my wife a lot and she talks about me a lot, and it's probably fucking nauseating at some points, but the reason it works is because the first thing we did, yeah, we met on Facebook. We met on a singles and mingles group. The first thing we did was sat down for hours, and I mean hours, and just dumped our purses out. Look, this is how screwed up I am. This is the stuff that's going on in my life right now. This is the stuff I've been through. This is my life. I have this many kids. I have this problem. I paid this much. We spent hours trying to see if we could scare each other away. Like, okay, well, I've got this. Well, I've got this. And it wasn't even a pissing match. It's like, okay, but be prepared for this. Okay, but you have to know about this. And that is the healthiest thing you could probably do to start a relationship is, just put it all out there. Fuck the persona, right? We know that that's part of healing, but that's one of the most detrimental things is starting a friendship or a relationship as your persona or based on your ego, because it's not going to work out very well.
Yeah, and you did the opposite. Y'all did the opposite. You actually, all those things that people usually hide that they find out about later, y'all put it out on the table right in the beginning. You're like, okay, this is who I am. This is what's going on. Where most people, they don't even, I have all this credit card debt, or I have student loans, they don't tell, or I have this weirdness about me, or blah, 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 like, so that's huge. I mean, the fact that y'all did that, it proves that, humanity is like healing, because you represent a huge part of humanity.
And I know this is going to make people laugh. It's one of the reasons I can talk so well is I want to touch on the fake. In another life, and I mean this one, but another time of my life, I was actually a DJ at a strip club. And that was my opportunity to realize how fake attractive women were, because we got something called a tip out. And what that is each girl pays you a certain amount of money for playing their selection at the right times. It's kind of a bonus to the DJ. And the one girl forgot to pay me, so I had to go upstairs to get my money. She was a very, very beautiful African-American woman when she was on stage. When I went upstairs, it looked like a black homeless man. I can't. She took off so much in a matter of minutes, I didn't even recognize the woman. Yeah. I was like, holy shit. Okay, yeah, you owe me some money. And like it was a matter of minutes. Everything disappeared. It was like a fucking magic trick. Like I was just like, what just happened?
Happening to a lot of men who meet women like all over the world that look like one way, and then they realize, oh my God, that was all fake. Like she actually looks like this, and this is not good. And not to be like vanity or whatever, but you have to be like real. You can't. The more mask you put on your face, and it's a lie. It's a lie, and then you got to like overcome that, and then so it's better just to be authentic from the very beginning. Don't be fake. But I mean, you see what the society is. The bars are popping. All that's still happening. Football's still happening. Like, even though a lot of people are getting it and they're starting to realize, like, oh my God, I don't want to do this, but it's still happening. So, men have to be really careful, but also women have to be really careful too. I mean, it goes both ways. It's not just the men. It's just not just the women. I mean, bio robots are everywhere. They are amongst us everywhere. But now we know how to recognize them. And then they have a chance, right? They do have a chance. Whatever way they want to go, that's fine. Like, no judgment. Like, who cares? At this point, we don't care anymore. We're just like, you know what? If you wake up, you wake up. If you don't, it's okay. Stay asleep in the dream. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, but I mean, not really.
I've mentioned this before. I had a friend when I wrote my paper. I was like, dude, I think I figured out not why we're here, but I think I figured out how. And he's like, please don't tell me. And that was the end of the conversation. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Before we move on, my buddy Lee again was saying when you were talking about the bar, he's like, "That's why it's dark in bars." You're
Yes,
absolutely right. Like
it's so true. They
we
keep
used
it
to
dark
call
in
them the
there.
ugly lights. Like you put them on and just watch people go, "Holy fuck!"
And when the lights come on, you're like, oh God. Like people are like,
I
ah,
was making out with you. What? Yeah. Oh
oh my
yeah.
God, it's so funny.
I actually used to enjoy working at the bars just to watch that moment when the lights come on. And one, you'd end up finding a lot of money because drunk people drop shit. And it was just like, you just watch that reaction. Either you knew the guy picked up a hottie or it was like, oh my God, what was I doing all night? You could literally see it when the lights came on. It was hilarious. Uh,
God, it's pocket dimensions. I call it pocket dimensions now. Like
yeah.
bars and clubs and cities. Like it's like a pocket dimension where all that craziness happens, and I'm like, I
Oh,
don't want to go there.
no, it absolutely is. Before we get going, because I know it's a lot later where you are, and I don't want to keep you all night. You mentioned earlier astral parasites and attachments. This is something that I've circled around a lot of times, and something I'm really looking for a how do you tell kind of thing. Like, how do you know when you have an attachment or an astral parasite, and what are they?
You know by the thoughts. So if you start like if you're home and you start having bad thoughts, like worry, uncertainty, doubt, all that, usually that's something that's outside of y'all, outside of yourself, putting those thoughts in your head or speaking it, or there's something that attached onto you that's feeding off your aura. So usually you could tell by the thoughts. That's the telltale sign. You can also tell by fatigue, fogginess, or just being zapped. Like if you just get like say you went and did a job, like your company that you work for, you go do a job at someone's house and you were talking to them and then you start realizing like, oh my God, I don't feel right. Like usually something jumped onto you. And the way to get rid of that is awareness. I mean, really, yeah, you can burn some sage or, Palo Santo, whatever, smoke a bowl. I mean, I don't know, whatever. But usually awareness is the key. So these are not my thoughts. Get out of my head. I'll burn you with my thoughts. That's all you gotta say. Get the fuck out of here. I will burn you with my thoughts. And then it'll leave. It'll go away. And we're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I notice things trying to get on me when I'm trying to go to sleep. That's when the uncertainty, doubt, or fear of money or whatever tries to start embedding itself, and then now I can recognize it and be like, oh yeah, that's not my thoughts. Like, why would I torture myself like that? Right? Like, we are divine beings that are supposed to live in the now moment, right, at 0 point. Why would I start worrying about money when my mortgage is not even due until 3 weeks? I got 3 weeks to make that money. Why am I going to start freaking out right now? Like, what? It's not you. It's not you. So it's thoughts in your head. It's always this. They always try to get this because they can't touch this. This is God. This is you. But we've been over manipulated and genetically modified to be in here all the time. But we really need to be in here. If we're in here, we just burn them away. Our aura gets stronger, and it is like, it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. That those thoughts are not coming in as much, right? Like something is changing.
I
Awareness.
I absolutely agree. And, the awareness and coming from your place of authenticity are probably, and purifying yourself again is another great way to help things escalate and move on. Raquel, this has been an absolutely amazing conversation. I can't believe it's been 90 minutes almost already, but we've knocked it out of the park. And I still have we're gonna have to do this again in a couple of months because I still have
Yeah.
a page of shit. Um,
Okay. Let's do it again. So fun.
Absolutely. Uh, so I've put your X link in the description. Is there anywhere else people can check you out, or anything that you got going on, or where they can get a hold of you if they need to?
Yeah, I'm weird. Like I get on X and I take breaks because they like shadow ban me so much. Like they hate the AI is like, they sideline me. They're like, nope, put her over here. She's way too ahead. I'm gonna sideline. I'm too ahead in the narrative, which is okay. You know, some of us have to be. We got to pave the way, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, X or I'm on TikTok at Rock That Truth 17, and I'm on Instagram Terra Crystal 17, and then X. Yeah, so I'm just around. I just kind of pop around like wherever I can get stuff through. But you know how it is. It's very hard these days. So
Yeah. I'm preferring to say it's an expanding community. We're not shadow banned. I'm trying to put a positive spin on it
yeah,
because communities are meant to be small and then they grow, right? We don't
yeah.
want to be in society because that's the trap. So this is a small community, not a freaking echo chamber. I'm taking it back. So this is my community, not an echo chamber, and I love you guys all.
I like
So
that. I like
yeah,
that too. And that's kind of why I try to say I was just sidelined. Like I just was pushed to the side until the time is right.
and that's the way it is. Like, we just had an amazing conversation that we've been trying to have for months, but it needed to happen when it needed to happen because that's the way things happen in this reality.
1017, baby.
All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody that stopped by the chat and everybody that listens to this in the future. And like I always say, if you guys can go outside, please do, because it's a lot better than sitting in front of this screen. I love you guys.
Thank you for having me on.